What's going on, guys? I'm Jesse from Jesse's Garage and Adventures, and today I'm going to be going over this new LiTime setup that they sent me. So within this battery box, which is a LiTime battery box, it hides something pretty special, which is their Xtra Mini. As you can see down here, it's pretty small. We'll go ahead and get into the unboxing and the use and go through the app and all that good stuff. I'll tell you guys what my intended uses for this thing are. I'll go over how to set everything up, how to start it, all that good stuff. And then I also want to share with you guys that I am a LiTime affiliate. So if you guys are interested in picking up your own setup like this, please check out the links in my description, and I will go ahead and share my discount codes with you guys. And I hope you guys look forward to checking out this new battery system. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and open this up now, and I'm going to unbox it, show you guys what all's in it, and then we'll go ahead and install it into the battery box. I believe that this battery box is actually going to be a little bit large, but I might have an idea for that. This is I believe a Group 24 battery box. But let's go ahead and get this open, take a look at this. I actually got the opportunity to work with LiTime and go to the Overland Expo MTN West, and I got to see this thing right when they first came out with it, basically, in person. So I know a little bit about what I'm getting. But I'm really excited for it. I think it'll work great. For the power that this battery packs, it's very small. It's a 100 amp hour battery, which I'm sure you guys already know that. Alright, so before I go ahead and pair this battery to my phone app, I just want to talk about some stuff with you guys, just to let you know what we're dealing with here. So this is the 100 amp hour battery, of course. I've already probably said that 3 different times. It has got a continuous discharge rate of 100 amps. Not many things out there like continually need 100 amps of discharge. You'd have to be pushing a really big inverter or possibly a winch or something like that to really require needing that amount of power. What I will say is I don't think I've ever even come close. Most of the things that I do are like refrigerators or running a diesel heater or charging cell phones, stuff like that. You don't really need a crazy amount of power all at once. I don't know what your guys' applications are. Some of you guys might be trying to stick one of these in an RV or a trailer of some sort and powering something a little bigger than most of my projects, but that all really just depends on what you're trying to do with it. The maximum momentarily discharge is 500 amps, which is even more insane. I cannot imagine what you'd really need 500 amps for. You'd have to really have something crazy, but like I said, I don't know what you guys are doing. So these batteries, as you know, like with most any lithium-ion battery, they've got a BMS inside of them. All of the more modern batteries do. Every company's got their own flavor of however they're doing it. LiTime has some in-house development, and they've got their own BMS. I've seen other videos of people tearing them apart, and they are actually stamped LiTime, and they do develop their own thing. So some of the algorithms may be different. It's probably not like every other Temu battery or whatever else you will come across. The BMS does include a low temperature shutoff, which generally speaking will allow you to discharge the battery if the temperature is too low, but it will not allow you to charge the battery, and that is a safety feature. A lot of batteries just don't really like operating in super cold weather. And that temperature is, I think, right around 32 degrees, like freezing temperature. So if you leave this thing sitting outside in freezing temperatures, you will likely be able to discharge it into those temperatures, but you will not be able to charge it. And then, with that conversation, we want to talk about charging. These batteries have tons of different options for charging. You can charge them with solar panels and a charge controller, which that's probably somebody else's video to go watch, or maybe eventually I'll put my own out. You can buy LiTime sells their own chargers. They sell 20 amp ones, they sell 50 amp ones, 40 amp ones. Really just depends on what you're after. I'm sure you guys can also get on Amazon, order whatever. But the nice thing is the LiTime stuff works really well with their own products. When I was at Overland Expo, we had a guy who won a battery from us. Actually, we were giving the batteries away, and he did not have any. Normally, they would have just shipped the batteries out a week afterwards, but he needed that battery right then and there, so we pulled one off the shelf that we had, or off the display, and we gave him that battery. And that battery came in a discharged status because they don't ship them at full SOC, which is something we will get into here. I have not activated this yet, but when I do, we'll see what it comes at. I believe that's probably like, my guess is probably around 20%. But either way, we grabbed one of our battery chargers we had at the booth, and we ran over to the restrooms, and there was an outlet on one of the walls, and we plugged it in and charged it on the 40 amps, and that got him like, it was like 60% SOC in a couple hours. So like it really worked out really, really well for him. I want to say that these batteries retail for like right around $300, something probably a little bit less than that, depending on when you're watching the video. They may have specials. They've always got Amazon specials going on or different things. Along with that, I will have an affiliate link and a discount code only for you guys. Anybody can use it, but it's a discount code from me working with them that they gave to pass on to you guys. And then the way the affiliates work is if you purchase one using my code and my link, which will be in the description, you don't pay anything else. Well, actually, you may get a discount by using my code, but it gives me a small percentage back for making the video and working with them because, like I said, I've worked with them quite a bit. They sponsored the battery build in my Suburban, and then they sent me this out, so I did not pay for this. Anytime I've had any questions, they're very receptive. They have got a 5-year full replacement warranty, and I guess I just realized that this thing's backwards. Yeah, there you can see it. 100 amp hour Xtra Mini. This thing is a Group 22NF, which is not a battery size I've ever heard of before. Alright, I ran and grabbed my bathroom scale, and I just wanted to go ahead and weigh this thing to see what it weighs. Zero it out. So it weighs 19.7 pounds, which is kind of crazy. Alright, and now that we weighed it, let's just go over the dimensions of it. I'm sure you could look this up, but it's always nicer to see in person. So this thing is directly 9 inches across the top. And then these batteries are almost always slightly tapered. Basically every battery I've ever dealt with is slightly tapered. So we're going to flip her over on the side. Yep, and we've got about 8 3/4 at the bottom. So 9 at the top, 8 3/4. We've got a slight taper down. We will measure from here to here. We're sitting at about 5 1/4 tall. So once again, 5 1/4 from the bottom to the top here, 8 3/4 here, 9 at the top. And then that should allow you guys to figure out any type of dimensions that you are battling with to mount this thing. And then we'll get into mounting. They say not to mount this upside down. I believe any other orientation is fine. If you have questions, or if you're going to mount it in a non-conventional orientation, just go ahead and hit them up in their customer service. Alright, so we are in the user manual, which obviously you want to read these before you start using stuff like this. They've got a ton of really good information to know. But we'll hop here. Their email is service@litime.com. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to them. Like I said, they've been super responsive. I talk to them pretty often. Another nice thing they have in here is a chart that shows the SOC and the battery voltage over time. They say that this thing at 75% is anywhere between 13.3 to 13.33. And something important to know about the lithium-ion batteries is the, well, and we'll show you here in the chart. It's very flat. So like a 12-volt battery, as the voltage, or as you drop capacity, the voltage will drop pretty in line. These will hold flat and then all of a sudden die. So that's something you need to keep in mind when using a battery like this. It's harder to gauge how much capacity you have in it because the difference is almost nothing. What did it say here? The difference between 0% or 25% SOC, so again state of charge, is 13 volts, and then 13.33 is the top part. That's 100%. So between 13.33 and 13.0, you've got 100 down to 25. So you cannot very easily gauge by just going, oh, I've got 13 volts on it still. It's still good. No, that could be a completely discharged battery. All right, now that that's all done, why don't we go ahead and pair this to the phone app? So what I've done is I've got my phone here, went on the Google Play Store, I downloaded the LiTime Power app, which I'll show you guys what that looks like. So LiTime, you just download that. We're going to open it. This should be super easy to connect this. I did a few of these while I was at the expo. We'll go through, I'm just going to skip this. Don't skip it if it's your first time. You got to make an account. All you got to do is put in your email. They'll send you a 6-digit code. You put in whatever password you want. All right, that gets you to this page right here. You click Add a Device. You can either do it Bluetooth or QR code. On this battery right here, they've got a QR code printed onto it. So what we're going to do is do the scan QR code. You got to enable camera permissions. Anytime you do anything, you got to enable camera permissions on a new phone. Now we're just going to scan the QR code, and in real time, it should connect. And just like that, it's connected. So I'm going to get the camera off the tripod, and I'm going to walk through the app with you guys. All right, so once you are in the app, you can go through this Wear Badge, which has all kinds of different things that you can select that you're using this for. I'm just probably going to skip this just because it doesn't really matter. I think this is just a little thing you can do that's extra. We're going to go to Check Details. And then this right here shows that this is still in standby mode, which they send these in a power saving mode. That way the batteries don't discharge or degrade while in shipping. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a battery charger, and then we're going to go ahead and hook this up to the battery charger, and then that will kick this thing on, and you'll be able to see what happens once we do. So all that I've done here is I have plugged my battery charger into my Anchor, which, it's funny, I'm using a battery to jumpstart a battery, but just for simplicity. Then we're going to connect the negative, we're going to connect the positive, and that should start the battery charger and then kick this thing on. There we go. I'm sorry, you had to click this right here. So that little button will refresh this. It'll kick it on to Bluetooth. And then as you can see here, we're charging. So it'll tell you how long it'll take to charge. It shows you the amount of power that's going into it at 8 amps. And that it's got 25 amp hours capacity at 13.2 volts. When we roll through here, it'll tell you the temperature. It'll tell you how many cycles it's been through, the firmware. A lot of times they may update firmware in the future. It's got a discharge switch. I'll need to figure out what that's about. You can turn the power off. But yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to let it charge, and then we'll check back later. Something that I personally find pretty cool about the Anchor is it tells you how many watts are going out of the unit. So it says I've got 145 watts leaving, which when we go back to the app here, it shows the battery is taking in 108 to 116, which means my battery charger has about an inefficiency of 30 watts, which it's running a fan and doing some other things. It's converting 120 volts into 12, so you're going to have some losses between your inverter as well as running the fan. All right, guys, we're back, and this is the LiTime battery box. This is a crucial part of the way I'm going to be doing this system. And a big reason why I got this battery is to almost exclusively run, one, my trolling motor on my kayak, and two, a diesel heater for while I'm camping. I can have it outside. It's semi-sealed to the environments, which the actual battery is like waterproof, but you might as well not have it in nasty conditions if you can avoid it. So let's go ahead and go over the box. So the box will not come with the strap installed. It does come with a strap. You just have to run a couple of these little bolts right here. They pass through the side of it, and then that allows the strap to fit through. You can drop your battery in here, and then we've got the lid here. Let's go over some of the features on the lid. So the lid, first off, has a voltmeter. Luckily, the LiTime Xtra Mini has got the app inclusion so that you can just use the app to monitor your state of charge, and all that's good. We'll flip over. We've got 3 plugs. 2 of them are your typical cigarette style adapters, and these are locking plugs. So right here, it's got little detents, and they fit in with the little detents on the side of the cigarette charger. So you can drop these in, and if you turn it around, you can actually feel when they lock in. You hear it lock in like that? So that's a really nice feature, especially if you're going to have something in the back of your truck and it's bouncing around and all that. And then it's also got a USB-C and a normal USB-A type charger. Really convenient, all built in. So this could be theoretically your main DC style battery box for an overland or camping or whatever setup you want. It's also got a switch to turn it on and off right here. They've got circuit breakers installed. And what they'll do is if you overrun the 16 amps, it will shut off until you unplug it and the circuit breaker can cool back down and close contacts again. And then obviously we've got our just thread-in style connectors here. So when I hook my diesel heater up, I've got eyelets that I will slide over these and clamp it down. And the same thing goes with my trolling motor. So we'll go ahead and get the battery thrown in here. I have already used this a whole bunch. I just took it apart to show you guys everything, without it. I have tested this battery. It's been running my set power off and on nonstop for about 2 weeks. And that's with charging. I will charge it here and there and then run it for 3 or 4 days and then let it charge back again and back and forth. So we'll go ahead and toss the battery in here. I'll show you the installation. It's pretty easy. So this battery box is obviously made to accommodate bigger batteries than the Xtra Mini, but I have kind of a secondary purpose for this battery box. And my plan is to get a small inverter that I can drop in here too. And that way the one single box can house an inverter. It's really easy to unsnap the lid if I need it. But to be honest with you guys, when I'm out camping, I hardly ever use any AC stuff, but the option to use it is really nice. And just like that, battery, it'll slide a little bit left and right, but it won't slide this way, which is, like I said, my concern because I want to put an inverter in here. I don't have the inverter picked out yet, but that's my future plans. So then, once we have the battery installed, let's go ahead and remove the nuts or bolts, whatever you want to call them. We'll put one washer below it. Their battery bolts actually come with a washer on the top. And then something else that you have to keep in mind is you want these cables facing not the outsides, because when you collapse it, they've got to be able to collapse in. So we'll just make sure those are tight. And then to actually clip this to the lid, it's super easy. You just clip it over, and you're done. Pretty secure in here. It's not flopping around. I like that. And then, like I said, we'll flip it on, and you can see the voltmeter. It's reading 12.8. What we'll go ahead and do is I will pull my set power refrigerator up here, and then we'll just run this as a demo. All right, so we'll just plug this in. We'll rotate it till it locks. You can see the set power kicks on. And that's really all there is to it. I'm super happy with the setup. I have run this battery with this refrigerator, like I said, for about 2 weeks now. I can get at least 2 days of sustained use out of this nonstop before this is dead. Usually it's around the 3rd day that this starts getting low, and I just would prefer to charge it before I haven't actually let it die yet. And then the way I charge them is I'll just pull this out and then throw my battery charger on this. And then you can do the same thing for a solar system. I just wanted to take one moment to kind of compare this to the Anker C1000. So space-wise, this is a little bit bigger. But like I said, I don't have anything in here. I could easily put an inverter in here. Obviously size constrained inverter, but like I could easily put an inverter in here that would fit. Obviously we might have some size constraints. You're probably not going to get a 3,000 watt, but you can get something fairly substantial to fit inside of here. This Anker is about a 50 amp hour battery, and then this setup's got the 100 amp hour battery in it. So obviously these kind of fit a similar footprint, and almost anywhere you could fit one of these, you could take one of these. These are a great option for other things. This is a much better option for sitting outside, doing water sports, or anything. It might get wet. Probably a little more abrasion resistant. This would be fine for whatever you're going to use an Anker for. They've got different use cases. I've got multiple Ankers, I've got multiple battery pack systems, and it really just depends on what I'm doing with them. So overall, I think this is a great setup. I'm super happy that LiTime picked me to partner with and kind of do a little feature demo on this thing. I'm super excited to use it with my diesel heater. We're approaching diesel heater weather. I personally don't like using a diesel heater till the nights are breaking into the really low 30s or below. and we're not quite there yet. We're really close, but I'm super happy with it so far. Like I said, I've run this exact refrigerator down here for like 2 weeks almost nonstop, and it's gotten me 2 to 3 days of use out of no problem. So if you guys are interested in picking up your own LiTime Xtra Mini or this battery pack or anything like that, please consider using my affiliate links. I'll have them linked in the description below. I've also got a discount code. It should be good for either 8 or 10%. It kind of varies. I might even have two of them. I will for sure have those in the description, and you guys can see which one fits. And obviously, watch out. LiTime runs various holiday sales. I know we're coming up on Black Friday, so you might be able to get a really good deal on one of these battery systems. So thanks for watching, and please have a good day, guys.